Solid support for PBB's top leadership, 2 international hotels to be built in SEMATAN. Those are the headlines for tonight. I'm Hendy Gui and this is TVS Nightline. Parti Pesaka Bumiputra Bersatu PBB President Datuk Patinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg will retain his position as the party's president by unanimous nomination. The party's upcoming annual General Assembly will begin on Friday, June 17th. PBB election officer Dato' Awang Bimi Awang Ali Basah said the Premier was the sole candidate nominated by all the 82 branches for the President post. Adding to that, he said apart from the President's post, there are no challenges to other positions as well.
Kesemua cawangan pun mencalonkan Yang Berhormat Datuk Amar Douglas Ugah Embas dan Yang Berhormat Datuk Amar Haji Awang Tengah Ali Hassan sebagai timbalan yang dipetua.
Awang Bimi said during a media conference with Dato' Amar Douglas Ugah Embas at the PBB headquarters on Saturday. Earlier, PBB Women Chief Dato' Sri Fatimah Abdullah had also requested that the party's positions, including the President, to not be contested at the General Assembly later. She added that Abang Johari should continue to lead PBB and the Gabungan Party Sarawak GPS to ensure continuous development and political stability in the state. Meanwhile, commenting on the uncontested post, PBB Deputy President Dato' Amar Douglas Ugah Embas said this reflects a solid grassroots support towards the party's leadership.
Di mana jawatan-jawatan penting dalam parti tidak dapat sokongan penuh dari semua yang tidak bertanding. Ini adalah satu bukti bagaimana akar umbi menunjukkan mereka adalah satu mempunyai kaitan penuh kepada Yang Amat Berhormat Premier kita untuk meneruskan kepimpinan parti PBB dan seterusnya memimpin negeri Sarawak ke arah kestabilan, kemakmuran dan kegemilangan Sarawak.
He said so in a media conference at the PBB headquarters on Saturday. Earlier, PBB election officer Dato' Awang Bimi Awang Ali Basah said nominations for the party's election had closed and no candidate had been nominated to challenge these top posts. As such, Abang Johari and the party leadership will be maintaining their positions. Several strategies have been crafted by the Sarawak government to further boost the tourism industry in the southern region of Sarawak, including building 2 world-class hotels in Lundu and SEMATAN. Premier of Sarawak, Datuk Patinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg said to realise this vision, private funds worth 120 million ringgit will be used for the development of these hotels.
Pihak swasta akan membangunkan penginapan di kawasan Lundu dan SEMATAN dan SEMATAN. Jumlah pelaburannya sudah confirm tu 120 juta. Sudah confirm. 2. Hotel sikit tu tak agak saya dah melihat desain hotel tu ialah di Dubai. Palm Hotel, Palm. Apa Jumeirah kah? Mana? No kedak. Pokok saya nak mula di SEMATAN juga. Jadi kita macam dah Dubai kena.
Abang Johari said this at the opening ceremony of the pontoon and landscape of the SEMATAN River and the prize-giving ceremony of the Tanjong Datu rod fishing competition in SEMATAN on Saturday. According to the Premier, the Lundu SEMATAN district has a massive potential and is suitable to become the peak of Borneo for the southern region of Sarawak, thus further attracting foreign investors to further develop the tourism industry in the area. He added that the Sarawak government is committed to planning and implementing development in the district, especially to upgrading the socio-economy of the local community. It is undeniable that food security and sustainability has been a key concern for global food industry in recent years, and yet many milestones have yet to be achieved. As such, the Taste of Borneo Conference 2022, themed Innovate, Elevate and Celebrate, aims to be the catalyst for change by bringing together industry players from the culinary world to convene and deliberate on culinary arts and science. According to Deputy Minister for Creative Industry and Performing Arts, Dato' Snowdan Lawan, with the tourism industry as one of the state's key sectors, this conference will act as a platform to increase the number of tourists into the state.
This conference will expose the delegates to some of the key trends in the industry today, inspiring innovation and embedding an elevated offering both for our domestic market in this important creative industry and for our visitors as they return.
Adding to that, he said that business events, food and festivals are all central to Sarawak's unique offering in line with the government's post-COVID-19 development strategy 2030.
This wide engagement and Taste Borneo conference, I think this one stands for EAT, Engage and Taste Borneo conference is so important. Not only will it bring in the visitors to enjoy and experience our hospitality, but it will also be a catalyst for our gastronomy sector in the future. As a homegrown event supported by the Ministry of Tourism, Industry and Performing Arts, it will fully reflect the needs of our own people while reaching out across the best international example to provide a learning and growth platform for.
On a side note, UNESCO Creative Cities Network has designated Kuching as the creative gastronomy city, making it the first city in Malaysia to be listed on their network. Meanwhile, Chef Abang Abdul Rahman Abang Omar, chair of the conference and president of KCA, hopes that through this conference, it will be able to elevate Sarawak's food to the eyes of the world.
Through this conference, I hope it serves as a platform on the uniqueness of Sarawak food, culture, arts and science to be recognized and appreciated throughout Malaysia and the rest of the world.
The conference is jointly organized by the Kuching Chef Association KCA, Borneo Convention Center Kuching BCCK, and art creators, supported by the Ministry of Tourism, Creative Industry and Performing Arts Sarawak and Business Events Sarawak. It will be held at BCCK from October 14 to 16, 2022. Interested individuals may reserve a spot at the conference at www.eatconference.com. Also present were the Ministry's Permanent Secretary Hee Chiang Kee, Sarawak Ministry of Modernization of Agriculture and Regional Development Principal Assistant Sirai Daha, Sarawak Tourism Board Chief Executive Officer Sharzidi Datu Haji Saleh, and Advisor of Sarawak Tourism Federation Philip Yong. Batong Digital Community Center had organized the Build a Landing Page with Google Sites program in an effort to produce information technology IT literate youth. The one-day program, among others, aims to produce IT literate entrepreneurs, especially in the Batong area, who are skillful in developing their own websites.
Semoga peserta-peserta hari tu dapat manfaat apa yang kami orang ajar hari tu, khususnya dalam buat dalam mula website lah, sebab sangat-sangat mudah. Okey, sangat-sangat mudah untuk kita mula website, untuk kita gunakan sebagai mempromosikanlah apa yang kita mahu promosikan, contoh orang pemilik bisnes ke apa.
As such, the participants had agreed that the program provides them with an opportunity to excel in life.
Kami berasa amat bertuah sekali, iaitu banyak manfaat dan juga kelebihan yang kami dapat, iaitu mempelajari dalam membuat website serta melakukan perkara yang kami tidak pernah lakukan, seperti membuat satu website untuk kami, buat satu platform bagi kami share apa yang kami dapat, apa yang kami ada. Contohnya macam kami nak share tentang pengetahuan dalam menggunakan gadget-gadget.
Sebelum ni memang tak pernah guna website secara percuma. Kebanyakannya banyak yang berbayar. Dan dia amat bergunalah untuk student pada apa-apa program akan datang. Kita boleh apply dalam kita orang punya pelajaran.
Saya dapat belajar benda baru iaitu buat Google Slide secara sendiri. Lepas tu percuma lagi. So mungkin saya rasa in future ia akan menolong saya buat benda-benda yang berkaitan lagi.
Coming up right after the break, Borneo Highway to be completed in April 2023. Abolition of the mandatory death penalty will not jeopardize police enforcement. Right here on TVS Nightline, stay tuned. Welcome back. Now, only 5 of the 25 sections in the Borneo Highway project are expected to be completed by April 2023, while 20 more sections will be completed by the end of this year. Senior Works Minister Dato Sri Fadila Yusuf said the remaining 5 sections, namely Bukit Begunan, Spaoh, Lambir, Tatau and Sarike, require additional time as the sections are currently experiencing several issues, including the design and shortage of manpower.
Yang saya katakan tadi, April tahun depan, satu mungkin yang di Siaman, Bukit Begunan. Yang kedua tadi Lambir. Sebahagiannya lagi di Sarike. Ada 3. These are all the critical one lah. Ada 5 semua.
He told reporters after participating in the Jelajah FT Roadpedia Sarawak program on Saturday. Meanwhile, commenting on the critical areas, he said that monitoring works will be carried out by the Public Works Department JKR and the Ministry of Public Works. At the same time, he added that it is crucial for the contractors to complete works such as bridges, sewerage, and the like. Now, the Congress of Unions of Employees in the Public Service QPACs has urged the government to implement 3 crucial measures in the effort to assist civil servants affected by the increase in the price of goods. Among the measures proposed were implementing a 1,800 ringgit minimum wage, 2 annual salary increments, and a new and more effective remuneration system.
Kami tetap berterima kasih apabila kerajaan juga telah membuat beberapa langkah utama. Tetapi langkah-langkah ini tidak mampu untuk kami hadapi dengan kedudukan kewangan dan gaji kami pada ketika ini. Justru itu desakan kami yang telah kami lakukan telah hampir 2 tahun, yakni untuk kerajaan memutuskan dengan segera kedudukan dan kehendak kami di bawah gaji minimum penjawat awam hendaklah berada di aras ataupun minimum RM1,800.
He told reporters after attending the Civil Servants Assembly in Kota Kinabalu, Sabah on Friday, June 10th. Adding further, he said the minimum wage would facilitate the government in achieving the household income target of 10,000 ringgit a month, which was one of the government's targets in the 12th Malaysia Plan to make Malaysia a high-income nation by 2025. As such, he stated that this is crucial as the government, along with the private sector, is the catalyst for the country's development. Now, the government's move to abolish the mandatory death penalty will not jeopardize the police force's enforcement efforts, in particular serious crimes. Home Minister Dato Sri Hamzah Zainuddin said the Home Ministry backed the decision and stressed that police enforcement and investigations will be carried out as usual.
Mana kadang-kadang saya nampak hakim agak dikedudukan serba salah kerana kurang kepastian sama ada nak hukum gantung ataupun seumur hidup. Dan sebab itu bila adanya kelonggaran ini, dia memberi ruang untuk hakim memikirkan tanggungjawab dia. Kerana dia sebagai seorang yang benar-benar tahu akan dan dia yang mendengar masalah-masalah dalam mahkamah, evidence yang dimukakan dalam mahkamah, biarlah dia yang tentukan.
Yesterday, Minister in the Prime Minister's Department for Parliament and Law, Dato Sri Dr. Wan Junaidi Tuanku Jaafar, announced that the government has agreed to abolish the mandatory death penalty and to grant judges discretion in sentencing. He said in principle, the government had accepted and taken note of the recommendations of the Special Committee on substitute sentences for the mandatory death penalty. The ringgit is expected to trade in cautious mode against the US dollar next week. According to an analyst, the US Federal Open Market Committee is expected to deliver another half a point rate hike to cool soaring inflation in the country when it wraps up its meeting on June 14 to 15. Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad Chief Economist Muhammad Afzanizam Abdul Rashid said the 50 basis point hike in the federal funds rate appears to have been fully priced in, as inflation would likely stay elevated. He added that inaction by the European Central Bank ECB on Thursday, June 9, appeared to be giving further advantage to the US dollar, with the US dollar index hovering at more than 103 points. On Thursday, the ECB said it would end a long-running bond buying scheme on July 1st and signaled a string of interest rate hikes from next month as it battles high inflation. For the week just ended, the ringgit was traded range-bound against the US dollar amid expectations that the near-term economic outlook appears to be challenging. The ringgit breached the 4.4 level against the greenback on Friday. On a weekly basis, the ringgit was weaker against the greenback compared with a week earlier. The local note was traded mostly higher against a basket of major currencies on Friday to Friday basis. The ringgit was higher against the Singapore dollar a week earlier, but is vis-a-vis the Japanese yen. It appreciated against the euro and strengthened versus the British pound last week. The National Recovery Council (NPN) will look into recommendations or suggestions that can be tabled to the government to overcome inflation and the rising cost of living at its next meeting this month. NPN Chairman Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin said, despite the country going through a recovery process post-pandemic, people are still affected by the rising prices of goods due to inflation. Muhyiddin said, upon recommendations, NPN will set up a task force to study and hopefully tackle the issue of inflation. He further added that among the main challenges is the issue of cash flow and others such as logistics, manpower, and other. Meanwhile, the Pagoh Member of Parliament said MPN plans to hold a national-level conference this year to explore the issues by inviting relevant experts and speakers to share their perspectives. The conference would be handled by the MPN Secretariat, which is currently headed by Chief Executive Officer Tan Sri Dr. Sulaiman Mahbub. On a related matter, Muhyiddin, who is also Perikatan Nasional PN chairman, will launch an agriculture project using hydroponic technology in Bacok, Kelantan to help the people ease the burden of high living costs. Now on to some global affairs. Russia and China on Friday, June 10th, unveiled the first road bridge between the two countries as Moscow pivots to Asia amid its confrontation with the West over Ukraine.
The first road bridge between Russia and China was officially opened on Friday, June 10. The kilometer-long bridge connects the Russian city of Blagovizhinsk with the Chinese city of Heihe. Yuri Trutnev, one of Russia's deputy prime ministers and presidential envoy to the country's Far East region, stressed that the bridge has a symbolic meaning of strengthening the friendship between Russia and China.
В сегодняшнем разобщенном мире мост Благовещенск-Хэйхэ между Россией и Китаем имеет особое символическое значение. Он станет еще одной нитью дружбы, которая связывает народы России и Китая. Строительство моста началось в 2016 году. Тысячи людей принимали участие в строительстве. Работа велась круглосуточно, как с китайской, так и с российской стороны.
During the opening ceremony, Russian and Chinese trucks crossed the bridge to a fanfare of colored smoke bombs. Officials from both countries participated in the ceremony via video link.
Tomorrow will mark a new dawn for Russia's fast food lovers as former McDonald's restaurant will reopen under new branding and ownership, more than 3 decades after the arrival of the hugely popular Western fast food chain. The relaunch will begin on Russia Day, a patriotic holiday celebrating the country's independence. At the same time, flagship location in Moscow's Pushkin Square, where McDonald's first opened in Russia in January 1990. In the early 1990s, as the Soviet Union crumbled, McDonald's came to embody a thawing of Cold War tensions and was a vehicle for millions of Russians to sample American food and culture. The brand's exit is now a powerful symbol of how Russia and the West are once again turning their backs on each other. McDonald's iconic golden arches have been taken down at sites in Moscow and St. Petersburg, where they will make way for a new logo comprising 2 fries and a hamburger patty against a green background. The reopening will initially cover 15 locations in Moscow and the surrounding region.
Well, opening day is obviously important because this is the first time consumers can really feel and touch and see the brand and what it stands for and what it delivers. So it's actually very important how the reaction will be. And obviously, Russian people will be comparing the McDonald's experience compared to the new company's experience, and then they will decide how they will do in future, whether they will come again. So in this type of consumer products, we are talking about repeat purchases, everything. So they have to have this very great feeling from this first visit to then come again. So in that sense, this is crucial, this type of opening.
McDonald's, the world's largest burger chain, had owned 84% of its nearly 850 restaurants across Russia, and it took a charge of up to $1.4 billion.
But it will not happen this year. It will take some time. But that is in that sense good that they are having these options later to enter. Obviously, we don't know what will happen to the stall or these restaurant locations and what I've read in news that they might be filled already with these new restaurants. So we don't know whether the same locations are available. But those are obviously very important for restaurant business locations. So that affects obviously this kind of new entry. But it's good that they have that option. Obviously, it's a big market. They had there over, was it 850 stores? So in that sense, when it will be possible, I think some of the companies, including McDonald's, will re-enter the market. But it will take some time, not this year, maybe not next year, when all the sanctions have been removed. It may be.
McDonald's last year generated about 9% or $2 billion of its revenue from Russia and Ukraine. Meanwhile, McDonald's would stay open as usual at airports and train stations in Moscow and St. Petersburg until 2023. Don't forget to tune in to Sejahtera Asia on the topic of Malaysia's largest Sarawak team mural maze painting event, with guest Dato Sri Victor He, Steel Group Managing Director, and Henry He, the Director of Trans Sdn Bhd, 7:30 a.m. on TVS Astra Channel 122 and My Freeview. And that is all for TVS Nightline. Stay up to date with the top stories via our website at TVSTVMY and follow our social media platforms for the latest news and entertainment. Once again, I'm Handy Gui. Stay safe and have a pleasant night.